If you haven't heard about Anchor, let me tell you, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. Trust me, if I can do it on Anchor, anybody can do it on Anchor. Besides being easy, it's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit the podcast right from either your phone or your computer. And best of all, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. And you can hear it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and many, many other platforms. So it is really like one-stop shopping, everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So really, if you're into this and you want to do this, Anchor is the place to go. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
I feel like there's become a new villain, and that's become carbs.
Today's episode on Spot On. Here we go. From Paleo to Keto. Are carbs the villain on your plate? Put down that beef jerky and let's find out. This is Spot On, a health and wellness podcast for college students, soon-to-be college students, or anyone that knows a college student. Spot On breaks through the latest health and wellness information hijacked from media headlines to provide you with accurate and usable information that is, well, spot on to meet your needs. I am your host, Dr. Joan Salge Blake. I am a nutrition professor at Boston University and the author of the college textbook called Nutrition in You, which is used in colleges across the United States and abroad. So let's go back to the streets to find out what college students think about the carbs in their diet. Are they a friend or a foe?
There are carbs that I really, really love, like pasta, wonderful carbs, but there's a lot of things that I don't eat in general, like bread.
I've been gluten-free, and I have to say, I've been feeling so much better.
I've heard about the paleo and keto diet, but I don't really know any information about what it consists of.
For different diets, for example, the keto diet or things like that, it really depends on what you're trying to achieve, whether you're trying to gain muscle, lose weight, and then on your body type and how much you work out or not.
I don't know much about paleo. I know my mom tried it for a while and failed.
I follow a few influencers on Instagram to follow their keto diets, and they promote this keto coffee, which helps aid in the ketosis stages.
Most of the people I've met who are really health conscious tend to do it.
You know, low-carb diets, everybody is talking about low-carb diets. No matter what your cultural background, we all grew up eating carbohydrate-based diets. Okay, if you're from Greece, right? So you had carbohydrate-rich yogurts and cheese and veggies. If you're Asian, right, you had rice and veggies. From India, you have lentils, which, by the way, is my new thing. Rice and veggies also. Spanish, you have rice and beans. And, of course, me, I am 100, if not 110% Italian. So trust me. My childhood table wasn't set until there was plenty of carbohydrate-rich bread, pasta, and veggies in the serving dishes. So the question is, we all grew up with these cuisines that were rich in carbohydrates. So what has happened? Why all of a sudden our carbs have become the villain on the plate? And some folks are avoiding them just like the plague. So to dig deeper into this whole low-carb story, I'm so excited today to have a friend and a fabulous nutrition colleague, Toby Amidor. She has a master's degree and she's a registered dietitian nutritionist. She is an award-winning nutrition expert that's based in New York City, and she was also a Wall Street Journal best-selling cookbook author. And, you just need to Google Toby Amidor, and I'm telling you, a gazillion articles are going to come up. And today I am so happy to have her on the phone because she is in New York. She's an expert on fad diets and low-carbohydrate diets. In fact, she has read over 300 diet books over her career. So fad diets, Toby, they're like fashion. What's old is new. They come in go out and come back in. And we can only go to the 1970s with the low-carb guru, Dr. Atkins. Remember that diet?
That's exactly it. It's like a comeback of Atkins, just in different forms.
That's exactly correct. And, it's funny because this year low carbs are back in. So hello to Dr. Atkins. And then I was checking Vogue magazine and bell-bottom pants are in. So, everything of the 70s is coming back as of what you're wearing and what you're eating here. So there you go. All right. So, Miss Tobe, tell me, honestly, what is going on about these low-carb diets and why all of a sudden, or why have they evolved to be the villain on the plate?
At first it was, okay, no sugar this, no sugar that, and now it's come to the entire category of carbs, which is inclusive of complex carbohydrates too, and so you have people and many of these fad diets cutting them out completely, promising a lot of health benefits, promising weight loss, energy, and a lot of other things.
Right. Toby, the International Food Information Council did a survey in 2018, and about a third of the young consumers at those age 18 to 34, which of course is right there in the college age, they are looking to follow a specific eating pattern, and to them, low carbs is king. And it was interesting because when they said, what is the motivator for finding a specific eating pattern, they said energy, to make me feel better and to better manage my weight. So here we go again. How did this carbs get the bum rap that they're not kind to your waist or they are not good for you and good to fuel your body?
I'm not sure how they have, but I know a lot of people crave them, and so a lot of people tend to overconsume them. So it's not that, let's say, pasta is quote-unquote bad for you, but a lot of people, instead of taking maybe 2 or 3 half-cup or 3/4 cup servings, they take 6 or 8 cups and then say, oh, no, the carbs were bad. Yeah, you overconsume them. Right. And now you're saying, okay, wait, instead of going to moderation, let's just go all the way and cut them out completely. And so you're not meeting kind of in the middle here. And I also feel in the world of nutrition, we're always looking to blame someone. And right now, poor carbs.
I know. They need a good PR firm. When you said about the pasta, listen, you know that I'm 100% Italian because we've met in person. And you know that I speak with my hands. So pasta to me was like, you couldn't even, function if there wasn't pasta on the table there. And we didn't have any problem with our weight or our energy level when we were growing up. So, it's very, very interesting. It's not so much what I'm hearing you're saying, the carbs or the source. It's how much?
Right. It's funny because when I actually went to Italy and I asked for pasta, they gave me a Toby portion, meaning they gave me a small portion, not an Americanized portion like 6 or 7 times the, amount I should be eating. Right. So I was so happy going to Italy with a small bowl of pasta.
So maybe we should all go there. We should,
okay. Okay. Yeah. You buying?
Yeah, I'm buying. It's on me. I'm pulling out my American Express, and you're coming with me.
Just in general, food and us as a population, one of the things that pulls us together as a culture and our history and our family is sitting together and eating and enjoying food, especially from our, mother and grandmother or whoever. Mm-hmm. And taking that away just takes that whole bond and, that love of food away. And so I just always want to throw that out of there. Can you imagine not being able to have pasta?
Right. And you're right. And I Toby, I'm going back to my days in New Jersey, the Italian household. We ate together, we talked, and the plates were smaller. There was tons of vegetables and there was pasta. And how can you, connect with your family if you don't have that one meal together? And that kind of slows you down and then calms you down, because we know a lot of stressful eating, you can eat and overeat. So you're right, there's a lot to be said about going back to your cultural heritage, and not only the types of foods, but going back to the family and breaking bread with the family. So I'm on there, I'm with you. So what is, if you defined a low-carb diet, what is it? Like, how low is a low-carb diet?
Well, I think it also depends on which low-carb you're going to. Some of them tell you to cut it out almost completely, like something like the keto. It tells you to eat 5 to 10% of your calories coming from carbs, and that could be any types of carbs. Could be grains or dairy or low or non-fat dairy or fruits. And then, There's some, like Paleo, that really want you to eat basically almost no carbs. And so it really is dependent on the type of low-carb diet, but they're going pretty low.
And what is the downside of getting such a small amount of carbohydrates in your diet?
Well, like I mentioned, carbs come from different food groups. So it comes from your dairy group, it comes from your fruits, even vegetables have carbs in it. And so and grains, of course, you're cutting out food groups. Each food group is there for a reason because they provide nutrients, phytochemicals, and, important things that your body needs in order to be healthy, fight disease, maintain overall health. And so you're cutting out numerous food groups, or a lot of them, and it's very tough to eat a healthy, well-balanced diet when you do that. And on top of that, to have the energy you need because your body's not getting everything it needs in order to stay healthy.
That's right. And, I always say that, the carbs, it breaks down to the glucose, which is the fuel your body loves. And for college students, they are very active. They're very active physically and mentally.
Right. And that will go into when we get to ketogenic diet, how I feel it's very difficult for a college student to succeed on the keto and in school when you're undergoing something called the keto flu when you transition into the keto diet.
So I also am reading a lot that athletes, especially college athletes, are looking to this low-carb diet for energy, and it makes absolutely no sense to me. How can you perform? I mean, I know you're very athletic, you run and you have play tennis and everything, but how could you perform at your optimal if you're trying to have some, consume one of these low-carb diets?
You have to, first of all, you have to be careful. A lot of people, like Paleo, has done a modified Paleo for athletes, allowing like sweet potatoes in there to get those carbs, because you really do need them, absolutely, to get the glucose you need to fuel your body. And even for, recovery, too, you need some carbs. So they have modified some of these, and if not, you really should be working with someone who specializes in sports dietetics. There are registered dietitians who do that, who can actually go through with you and say, have this, this, and this to make sure that you're fueling properly before and after your workout.
You wrote a article, which I loved here, in U.S. News, and this was why this dietitian, meaning you, is against the paleo and other trendy diets. So share with us some of the reasons why you are just against paleo.
In terms of paleo, again, we are not living in the Paleolithic era. There's no man running around with a loincloth right now, and women are not sitting there gathering berries. So we're not in that era.
Well, not in New York, we know.
Not in New York, not in California, not in most of the U.S. We're not out with, going hunting like that, especially in the winter. Mm. That'd be kind of cold.
That would be nippy.
And so it's really not conducive to our culture and environment as it is right now. You're not allowed to have grains and dairy and legumes, potatoes. I mean, on paleo diet, and refined sugar, they say you shouldn't have it because it appeared after the agricultural revolution, or refined vegetable oils as well. I mean, you're going to go get some foods, first of all, on a college budget. You're never going to afford some of these things that they advocate on the paleo diet. That's first of all.
Right. Meat, which high protein is what's paleo is a lot, high protein and lower carbohydrates. Meat is expensive. We all know that.
Very expensive, especially you're not doing your plant-based meats because you can't have your, legumes and even your grains that have, high protein grains. So all that is out.
Right.
And so that's a big problem over there. And then, like I said, a lot of it is the elimination of these nutrients that you're just not getting. Right. And then a lot of people who tend to avoid grains are also avoiding dairy foods as well, and dairy has 9 essential nutrients in there too, and I'm not talking about alternate milks, I'm talking about the cow's milk. Mm-hmm. And so you're really cutting out a tremendous amount. Not only that, fiber. You're cutting out your fiber. You can have a lot of paleo folks running around with some constipation, which isn't really conducive when you're trying to learn and, be healthy.
And we all know when you're constipated, you're just not, you don't want to sit next to a constipated person in class. It's just not a fun of fun.
Not.
It isn't. It's interesting you said about dairy and other nutrients, because we have to remember at this, college age, some of them are still growing and they need nutrients. And we know for bone health, they have up until age about 30 to lay down as much calcium in the bones as possible. Yeah. And if you're giving up dairy, how much broccoli can you eat? And
spinach. You would not be able to eat cups and cups and cups and cups worth that you really need.
And we know, Toby, that every year, the diet that wins the Oscar, that always number one, that's the most healthiest diet, is right where you were on vacation in Italy, right? So it's the Mediterranean diet, and you look at the Mediterranean diet, it is loaded with, fruits and vegetables and grains and nuts and legumes and healthy fish and oils. So, again, we go back to this, and the data is there that is really healthy. So, again, the research says that these carbs are good. You said before that about the paleo, diets, and they were with the loincloths. I still have it in my head right now, and I'm sorry, I can't get rid of it. I'm sorry. So that they were out and about and hunting and gathering, and I was doing some research on this, and I was reading an article that was saying that, first of all, paleo diet, what is the paleo diet? It depends upon where you grew up. Where, all different places of the earth, right? You're going to have different paleo foods. Alaska is going to be different than Africa. But they were saying that the men and women did about 6 to 9 hours of walking daily. Can you imagine? Imagine your Fitbit.
Ooh, that would be nice. I was on vacation and I was walking. I did get like 20,000 steps in, but that's because I was on vacation. I was like waking up at the crack of dawn with the sunrise, walking on the beach for an hour and a half. But then I would play tennis, and then I would do another walk in the afternoon. But who has time?
That's exactly correct. And they were walking, 6 to 9 hours a day because they had to get food. What do we don't have to walk to get food. We have a phone. And we can get delivery. So this is a big problem with this, is that they, you can't just say it was the diet. It was the environment and the lifestyle that they had to go and hunt and physically go get their foods, which burned a lot of calories. And also was good for the heart, like you said, and for your waist, and for prevention of diabetes and other issues. And they also said that then when they dug up fossils and they looked at things, they found that there was instruments that they think that they took the grains and processed them. I know we know, Toby, that's like a bad word, even though we know process. Everybody has processed food. You have to have processed food. For goodness gracious, a carrot is processed.
Right. I actually had a whole conversation at a cocktail at a holiday party, and the gentleman said, "I eat nothing processed." I said, "Wait, what did you have today? Did you have any chicken that's processed? You're not eating the chicken as it's alive. You have to process it to eat it." But
it looks like they process it in the paleo. Here we go. They process it. They had to grind it up so that they could chew it and eat it. So there you go. It goes all the way back. That's where the first processed food came from. So you have also written another article, one of your another ones, this was in Shape magazine that I absolutely loved. And you said basically, what you have against the keto, or you're completely against the keto diet. That was the title. And by the way, we are going to put up the links to Toby's website, as well as the links to these two articles from U.S. News and World Report and Shape magazine talking about these fad diets on the Spot On Facebook page. Why are you so against keto?
Well, I think the premise for keto is that you're utilizing. So I'm just going to take a step back and explain a little bit what it is. Usually we use glucose or sugar, and in the form of it's stored as glycogen, and that's what gives us energy. And so what the keto diet does is it has you having so little glucose or sugar that your body has to use a different form in order to feed the brain and to give you energy. And so what it does is it turns fats into something called ketones. and that's what provides you energy. And this is what happens during times of survival. It's a backup method that we absolutely, our bodies use, so we don't die and during times of starvation. And it has shown to be beneficial, in kids with seizures.
Right.
So there definitely is something to it. However, for a weight loss, for someone who's looking to weight loss and change their healthy eating patterns, it actually isn't something that's sustainable. It's not fun. It's not tasty, because I've tasted and I've actually I've cooked some a ton of keto recipes just for my own knowledge, and it was freaking tough to sit there and calculate everything out. And I'm telling you, as a dietitian, where I've analyzed thousands of recipes. I'm the nutrition expert at Food Network. I've done a lot of analysis for thousands of recipes over there in my own cookbooks. It is just tough to sit there and make sure every meal is under like about 8 grams of carbs. Even if you're talking low-carb veggies, you can't have more than 3/4 of a cup of low-carb veggies and flavor them a little bit to stay under that amount. You're eating very little food.
We're talking like you said, that this was based on for epilepsy, and for kids, and they found out that they have low carbs, they might have less seizures, and thank goodness they found this, and because I've read about parents who have to have kids that have this problem, and they say it is so challenging to keep the carbohydrates so low in the diet and make it palatable. And how many grams of carbs do you on a keto diet? Like, what are we talking here?
For the keto diet, the carbs are between 5 to 10%. So let's say someone's on a 2,000 calorie diet. If we want to do the math, that's between 100 to 200 calories from carbs. That's any types of carbs,
right?
Grains, legumes, and honey, and because they actually don't even advocate eating honey. And low-carb veggies will have some, cauliflower will still have some carbs, and tomatoes will still have some carbs in it. It's really low. It's very tough to maintain,
right?
Something like that.
And you had said, I read in this article that was in Shape Magazine, you had said that it's so challenging that you have to even count herbs, that there was carbs.
Yeah, I did. Yep. When I started to calculate some of my numbers when I was eating some of the recipes, if I used too many teaspoons of dried herbs, it would put a carb to another gram up. So, it would add a gram of carbs, and I would be like, oh no, I'm above my limit. That would technically take me out of ketosis if you go above a certain number. And everybody's a little individual.
Right.
And I also just wanted to take a step back. Those parents with the epileptic children, they work very closely with hospitals and dietitians to make sure that the kid is fed and a well-balanced meal so they can thrive and grow properly too.
Exactly correct, and keep muscle mass and meet their nutrient needs, especially because they're so growing. So this is really, really a challenging diet. So the question is, why are we have this keto, culture out there when it's such a diet that is so challenging, and it sounds from what you did not palatable tasting. In why? How did this all come about?
I think everybody's looking for the newest thing, and you have some influencers, whether it's a couple of big name celebrities had done it, and so if they did it, they're absolutely influences to other people. But the problem is if you actually follow it, which I didn't even realize until I started doing a lot of research and looking into this. You actually, until your body gets enough ketones build up and stops relying on sugar for energy, you get something called the keto flu. And if you read the books on it, you get so sick during this, it could be a few days to up to a week until your body regulates, that a lot of books say, something, you should take a few days off from work. How do you do that when you're in school? Say, hey, professor, sorry, I'm in my keto flu. I can't show up to class for a few days. I'll catch up later. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Then, of course, the professor say, to get a note from the doctor, and this would get really, really ugly. So the keto flu, that is unbelievable. So is it like a flu? Like you feel like that terrible?
Yep, you feel very, very exhausted and nauseous, and you have headaches. And then people describe it as having overall fogginess that, again, lasts a few days to up to a week.
Wow. Wow. So for college students, for anybody who works, and especially in college when you're using your brain and you need to put that information in and get it in there and hope it stays there to critically think, this is not the diet of choice for your brain.
No, not at all. And I have to say, once you quote unquote cheat and have some carbs, you get out of the keto. You're out of ketosis. You have to go and start from scratch and go back through that flu and go back through ketosis. So people do it short term, and some people do it longer term. It's still a pain in the butt either time you do it, and it's really not fun.
Right. So that's interesting. So you can't just be keto Monday to Friday, okay? And then I'm off keto, on Saturday and Sunday, and I'm going to go on keto on Monday again, and get back to it. But you're saying no, because you have to
There's
stay
no
in
cheating
that.
on this
right.
one.
Oh my goodness. So you have to stay. You have to get past the flu stage, right? The keto, the fogginess, and everything, and then so that you could possibly think, and then stay on it forever to stay in that ketosis state. And so you can't. You can't go out to dinner with anybody. I mean, tell me these recipes. Like, what did you make for keto that
well, you can make, if you're going to take a keto, of course you can have meat, poultry, fish, eggs. You just have to watch what you're flavoring it with.
Okay.
So, a little olive oil, and you do want salt because those on keto diet, your salt needs to go up a tremendous amount.
I think you said something about dehydration. It's very dehydrating.
Yeah. You definitely need to increase your fluids and with dehydration, and it has to do with the metabolism of that sort. But the sodium needs increased tremendously. Like you barely have to. You don't. It's not like you're here. Oh, I need low sodium. No, you want to add more salt to your recipes for your body, and also your electrolytes are also. If you don't take enough of them, you could be in imbalance too. That's why coconut works well.
You made these keto recipes, and it's interesting because what I'm starting to see, Toby, especially on online digital grocery shopping, all these keto products. And I found keto cookies. Now, I don't understand how a cookie could be keto. And I looked at this. I looked at the ingredients label, and they were it was a package of 2 cookies, okay? And it was 90 calories per cookie. And you know what'll happen. Like, no one's just going to eat the one cookie, right? So
right.
So they're going to eat the whole pack of cookies. So, we're talking, if it's 90 calories a cookie and you eat 2 of them, we're talking 180 calories. But don't you really need to cut calories to lose weight if that's the goal of it?
Someone who's in true keto supposedly has a much less, their appetite goes down supposedly. But if now they're coming out, by the way, with modified keto. So someone who really doesn't want to stay in the very strict keto can eat keto, like you're saying, keto snacks, and absolutely that's going to happen.
So again, the carbs may be down, but the calories are not down.
Correct. A lot of So cookies could have, like you said, 100 calories each. You're going to eat 5 cookies. That's 500 calories.
There you go. And carbs or no carbs, that's 500 calories. Let's call
Correct.
a spade here. So when people, as a nutrition expert, when people say, "Gee, I need to better manage my weight, and that's why I'm doing keto," what is your advice?
My advice, honestly, is to stick to the basics. And I've said this before. You never want to do something. You have to remember your body is number one, and your body needs all those food groups. That's number one. And it's just a matter of balancing them out and take a step back and see where are you not, where are you having an issue? Are you hungry between classes, for example? And what are you eating during that period of time? Maybe you can have a better snack choice. So almost dissecting, take a step back, look at the bigger picture, and stop going after some of these really far-fetched diets that's really going to make you feel you're going to fail. You can't stay in ketosis. You're going to end up feeling bad about yourself, and that's part of what I put in that Shape article. Why are you going to follow something where you're destined to fail and feel bad about yourself?
Right.
That's not a good thing.
No, that isn't, because then it affects your self-esteem, and then you get angry, and you're back right where you started.
Yeah.
And it's just not, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And, to go back through history, people think these are new fangle-dangle fad diets, but these low-carb diets that they're the same diets that were decades ago, just renamed, and they didn't work decades ago. So what the heck? I mean, what do you think it's going to be working for you now? And really, it's basically to better manage your weight. And it sounds like you want pasta, but let's not eat the whole pound, and let's do moderation. Let's stay active, and let's make sure your diet is well balanced to feed your brain, not at the expense of your waist.
Right. And then I'd also, if someone is really confused because they hear 20 different things or they read different things in the media, then a registered dietitian nutritionist can sit and really help, clear what are the fads, what are the truths, how does your body really work, what do I need, and really tailor it. If you're really dying to go the paleo way, they can help modify things so you're getting everything you need, but maybe you're eating a little bit more high fat, but the healthy high fat way.
Right. And you said something very interesting that you got to be very careful about electrolytes and things that are going on. So if you come in to this with on certain medication, or you have a certain like high blood pressure or thing, you got to be very careful to do such of these extreme diets. And even people say, even like college students, they're young, they can survive. No, a lot of them are on maybe medications, or they have health issues that they shouldn't be doing such an extreme without the advice of a registered dietitian nutritionist, which oftentimes are available on college campuses. As well, also many insurance companies are paying for a visit or a counseling session. So good.
They are.
That's where we need to get our advice. All right. So my nutrition guru here, Toby Amidor, I am going to be putting her link to her website and the articles up on the Spot On Facebook. And I want to thank you for discussing low-carb diets, paleo to keto. And something, we're all going to go to Europe and enjoy our carbohydrates and go shopping and walk all day.
Yeah, wouldn't that be the life?
Yes, that's it. That's our dream. And I'm taking you with me. Thank you so much, Toby.
Thanks
Take care.
so much for having me.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Spot On. I am your host, Dr. Joan Salge Blake. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Joan Salge Blake. Please subscribe to Spot On through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you find your podcasts. Also, visit our Facebook page to join the conversation and tell us what you'd like to hear in future episodes. And by the way, could you ask 5 of your friends or family members to download Spot On and subscribe to it? Do I ask a lot from you?